We didn't confess our love, but our emotions betrayed us long before our lips ever could. My name is Jessica, and for most of my life, I believed words were necessary to explain love. I believed love had to be spoken to exist, named to be real, announced to be understood. I was wrong. Sometimes emotions speak so loudly that words become unnecessary. Sometimes the heart refuses to wait for permission from the mouth. And sometimes, silence itself becomes the loudest confession of all. I met Ethan at a time when I had trained myself to stay emotionally quiet. Life had taught me how to survive by shrinking my feelings, by keeping my expectations low, by pretending that wanting less meant hurting less. I laughed when it was expected of me, smiled when it felt appropriate, and avoided feelings that could pull me into something uncertain and uncontrollable. I had become very good at appearing okay. Ethan never tried to change that. He didn't push. He didn't ask questions I wasn't ready to answer. He didn't demand explanations. He observed. And somehow, he understood. We didn't start with plans or intentions. We simply kept ending up in the same places, same cafes, same quiet corners of the city, same moments where time seemed slower. With him, I never felt the need to perform, to impress, or to explain myself. I could sit beside him and exist without filling the space with noise. That's how it started. Quietly. One afternoon, as we sat side by side, watching strangers pass us by, Ethan spoke without looking at me. "You don't talk much about yourself," he said. I shrugged. I still forward. Some things don't come out easily. He nodded, as if I already knew. I hear them anyway. That sentence stayed with me longer than it should have. It settled into places inside me that had been untouched for a long time. Because it was true. He noticed when my smile was forced. He sensed when something was wrong before I admitted it to myself. He stayed quiet when I needed space and stayed present when I needed comfort. Without saying it, he was already caring. And without admitting it, I was already falling. There were moments, small, dangerous moments, when emotions slipped through the cracks we were trying to keep sealed. A look held a second too long, a breath caught at the wrong time, a sudden silence that felt heavy instead of awkward. One evening, rain trapped us beneath a small shelter. The city blurred around us, light softened by falling water, sounds dulled into something distant and unreal. Neither of us spoke, but everything was said. I felt his presence beside me, steady, warm, patient. My heart wasn't racing with excitement. It was racing with recognition, with certainty that scared me more than uncertainty ever had. This mattered. "I feel things too deeply," I said suddenly, surprising myself with the honesty in my own voice. He turned toward me slowly. "So do I." Our eyes met. No confession followed. No promises were made. But emotions had already crossed the line our words were still afraid to approach. At night, I went home with my heart louder than my thoughts. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, realizing something unsettling and beautiful all at once. Love doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it reveals itself through presence, through understanding, through silence that refuses to feel empty. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't sure I wanted to stay quiet anymore. Because emotions, once awakened, don't know how to remain obedient forever. After that rainy evening, something between Ethan and me shifted, subtle but undeniable. We didn't talk about it. We didn't need to. Our emotions had already crossed the line our words were still afraid to acknowledge. Days passed, and I noticed how carefully he treated every moment with me. He never rushed a conversation, never interrupted my silence. He listened the way people do when they're afraid of missing something important. And I noticed myself too. How my mood lifted when I saw his name on my phone. How my heart slowed when he sat beside me. How my emotions reacted before my mind could step in and control them. One afternoon, while we were walking without direction or destination, Ethan suddenly stopped. "Do you ever feel like you're holding back something that wants to be said?" he asked. I stopped walking too. "Yes," I answered honestly, "because once you say it, you can't take it back." He looked at me, his expression soft but serious. That's what scares me too. There it was again, our truth hovering between us, fragile and exposed. At night, sleep refused to come. My emotions wouldn't stay quiet anymore. I realized I wasn't protecting myself by staying silent. I was hurting myself slowly, carefully, pretending it was safer. The next time we met, I didn't plan to say anything. I told myself I would keep things the way they were. But emotions don't wait for permission. I need to tell you something, I said, my voice trembling despite my attempt to stay calm. Ethan didn't interrupt. He didn't rush me. He simply waited. I feel safe with you, I continued, and that scares me more than being alone ever did. He exhaled slowly, like he had been holding that breath for a long time. I feel it too, he said quietly. Every time I'm with you, my emotions speak before I can stop them. Silence followed, but not the painful kind. The honest kind. I didn't want to fall like this, he admitted, but it happened anyway. Tears filled my eyes, not from sadness, but relief. For the first time, I wasn't carrying my feelings alone. We didn't rush into a kiss. We didn't make dramatic promises. Instead, he reached for my hand slowly, carefully, and I let him. That simple touch said everything words had failed to express. From that day on, our connection deepened. We still spoke softly. We still moved gently. But there was clarity now. We didn't pretend. We felt nothing. We allowed emotions to exist freely, honestly. There were difficult moments. Old fears resurfaced. Doubts appeared late at night. But this time, we spoke through them instead of hiding behind silence. One evening, as we sat quietly watching the city lights flicker below us, Ethan turned to me. I don't need big words, he said. I just need you to stay honest with me. I smiled through tears. I can do that. Because love didn't arrive for us in grand declarations. It arrived through emotions that refused to stay silent. Through understanding that spoke louder than words ever could. And in the end, that was enough. Because when emotions speak the truth, the heart always listens.